Oh, the food for sure. Yeah, turkey dressing, all the things. Yes, I'm about that Thanksgiving meal.
And speaking of which, you guys have a big one, two big games this weekend, on Thanksgiving holiday. So, heading into this tournament, what's a couple keys to success or something that you guys are looking really forward to executing this weekend?
Both of our opponents are really reputable. They're very good, and they're both supposed to. They're picked to win their conference, their respective conferences. They've established programs, so I really feel like we've got to come in with a mindset of that we've got to continue to play at a high level. We can't start out slow. We've got to defend. And just do little things, take care of the basketball, block out and rebound. But our mindset has to be that we want to continue to move forward. I think that we made a big step by the Colorado win, and then obviously getting the road win with ULL. So now it's a matter of going on the road again against two really good opponents, and blocking out the distractions. You are in Vegas. There's a lot to be. Some of our players' first times to go. We do want to have a good time, but at the same time, it's a business trip. So, really just focusing on continuing to move forward.
Like you said, going on the road, it's different from those three home games. So, what do you think the newcomers and you guys gelling as a team for that first road trip? What do you think they learned?
Well, luckily, we did get to go to Greece in August. And so that road trip was meant also to prepare us for being able to play and focus and maybe block out some distractions, albeit there wasn't much pressure when we were playing over there. So now I think, that our kids did learn that, hey, they were in a different environment, going to bed that night. They had to sleep in a different bed. The schedule that we're on, they're going to really understand what a game day on the road looks like, which it's a long day. It's a long day, and it's a lot of film. It's a lot of shooting workouts, a lot of mental preparation. So I think that our kids responded well. I don't think that we played our very best at Louisiana, but I felt like they came out with the right mindset and defended really well early. So I hope that they learned all those things and to just understand that the road games are fun if you come back with wins.
Middle Tennessee has several players that average in double figures. I guess how is that going to challenge you all in terms of the defense that you've been talking about trying to play?
Yeah, Middle Tennessee is really well rounded, and they are very well coached. They're very disciplined in their offense. So we're going to have to really just apply all of our defensive roles. I don't think it's one thing where we can focus on one player. Everybody's going to have to do their job of guarding their own, but yet being able to help one another according to our rules. So I'm excited about the challenge, and I think it's a game that we're going to have to play from tip to the very end to get the win.
Is this one where you kind of feel like controlling the pace is going to help, or do you kind of want to see your girls go up and down a little bit?
Yeah, we definitely want to play at a faster pace. I think that we click a little bit better, but we just need to make sure we're taking care of the basketball. And we certainly don't want it to be a fast-paced game because we're giving up buckets. So we've got to defend, control the pace on that end, and then push it on the offensive end and get the shots that we want. If that's at the first of the shot clock, that's great. If it's at the end of the shot clock, that's fine too. It just needs to be great shot selection.
Knowing the offseason, you guys kind of prepared for these type of tournament situations. How do you kind of feel the girls are going to, respond to that now that it's an in-game regular season situation?
Yeah, well, number one, I thought that they responded well with the tournament that we had here, playing back to back. So this is our second opportunity to do that. So I do think that they've learned a lot from that. I think they've proven that they can respond and play well on the second day. So now it's a matter of putting two games back to back that we can really be proud of. So I think they're prepared. I think that our staff has done a really good job of putting them in situations in the summer and then obviously in the preseason to prepare them for this. And I'm, like I said, looking forward to watching them perform well.
What do you feel Bailey was able to do to kind of earn her starting spot last weekend?
I think she's just been consistent. She's been a consistent scoring punch for us. Her defense is getting better. I think she's understanding that defense is a big key. It's not just about the points that you score, but, she just gives us a lift. And I think, the message even to my team today is going to just be about the different lineups that we can put on the floor depend on the matchups, and in whether we need defense, whether we need offense. I feel like we're trying to still find that starting group that can start well and give us a good scoring punch without giving up buckets on the defensive end. But I think you saw against Colorado that we were able to put some lineups on the floor too that could really defend and even extend it into the full court. So I think the challenge for our team is understanding that they got to be ready for what their role is, and when their role is called upon, that they need to be ready to perform it, and they can't get in their feelings about maybe it's not every single night. Their minutes may fluctuate some, but when they can figure that out, I think we have a chance to be a really special team.
How do you feel Bree's kind of gotten into the flow of things? I know obviously she's provided you some offense, but just in terms of her minutes, I don't know if she's minute restricted or anything like that, but just in terms of what she's been able to do the 2 times.
Yeah,
she's been
I thought that against Colorado, she did exactly what we needed her to do. She came out and attacked the basket. She was able to stretch the defense by knocking down a 3 early. We need her to be more of a defensive presence, and we're going to see that this weekend because we're going to need her to pick up. Both teams have really good point guards, and we're going to need her to kind of establish that and control that the ball for us in that situation. So I think she's playing really well within herself. I think that she's really grateful for the opportunity to be back on the court, and hopefully she'll continue to get more confident, and we'll see her numbers rise, minutes and points and all the things.
It's been a couple of weeks since I've asked, but I guess what's an update on JoJo? Do you know if she's going to be out for a little bit longer?
Yeah, she's going to be out for quite a while. I mean, we're not expecting her back until probably after Christmas and probably even early February. It's unfortunate.
Coach, and then just going back, we talked a little bit in the offseason that you had some games last year that you couldn't finish late, and that was one of the big things that you want to stress this year. Going back to the Colorado game and then this past game, it showed that your girls can win in the trenches late, and then they can also pull away even on the road.
Yeah, I think that's our senior leadership. I think our seniors provide us that experience, that they've been there and done that. They give us a calming presence, and they're just smart about executing the basketball late. I thought, even though against Colorado to start the overtime, I didn't think we started the overtime well on the offensive end, but I did think that they showed that they could step up the defensive side of it and really get stops when they needed them. And then we had people really start making some big buckets. So I think that's huge for us. I think that that's something that we certainly want to continue to improve upon, and we'll have to be able to close out both games in Vegas as well. I expect them to be wire to wire, and I think that we're going to really have to show some great composure while we're on the road.
And then just kind of going back to Bailey, double figures in her first 4 games. Just kind of talk to her. I know you kind of expected this out of her in the transfer this season, but being able to see her kind of immediately take those shots and make them and do well here in the early going.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know Bailey can play. We're excited about her production thus far. We don't want to put a lot of pressure on her as a freshman, and I think that she actually probably would want us to, but I think she's just doing such a great job of taking what we give her, whether it's coming off the bench, whether it's a starting opportunity. We put her in some situations to take some tough shots, and she does. But that's also a statement to her about her teammates just really, really love her, and they know how good she can be, and they want to help her become good. And so I love the fact that we don't have upperclassmen that are upset about that. Like they are her biggest fans, and they're trying to make her be as best as good as she can be. But I also think she wants to help her teammates as well. She just wants to win, and whatever it takes for her to do that and for her team to do that, she'll do. So I'm just excited to see her be successful early, and give her some more confidence. And I think that's given Riley some confidence. I think that Saga has done some good things. And I just think it shows our young kids that they can come in and compete at this level.
And then I guess with that, can you kind of talk about the camaraderie of this team so far? Just, a few games in, you lose together, you win together, and you have a decent blend of those seniors, and you have a really young squad as well.
Yeah, I think that's something that we really want to work on and continue to work on. I think it's a never-ending battle, right, to continue to build that chemistry and obviously the camaraderie. But we have put them in situations where they've learned a lot about each other personally early, so they really care about one another. I think they know that their coaches care about them as well, and that certainly helps when you're trying to mesh some girls together to work as a unit. But I do think they are each other's biggest fans. I don't see any type of jealousy or envy in any of them, and I think that we will continue to work on just the energy that we give each other, because I think that's really important. And again, we've got to just continue to buy into it can be a different lineup every given night. And, when you get that opportunity, you need to run through the door. But also, when it's maybe not your time, you've got to be just as ready and just as encouraging for your teammates.
The rotation between Ella, Lana, and also Jazz too. How the past couple games, what have you feel like they have done well, but also what's something that they, I guess, have a goal to improve on?
Yeah, I thought they played so much better against Colorado and even Lafayette than they did against Jackson State. I think they are finding where they can be successful and they're not having to rush it. I think if they can take their time and be patient, when they get the basketball, as the offense is developing, whatever it might be, I think they're seeing where they can be really successful. Our team is doing a great job, especially our guards are doing a great job of getting them the ball in situations to be successful in. And I think that they still have their very best basketball in front of them, all three of them. I think that we saw some glimpses of what Lana can do against Colorado. I think Jasmine's being extremely consistent for us and an inside presence. And I think Ella is getting better every game of just taking her time. She just gets a little bit in a rush sometimes, and it makes her make some mistakes. So when she can take her time and be confident, she can score it in the paint just about any time she touches it. So really proud of those three. We need them to continue to play well. The way that our offense is set up, it goes through the post, and so we need them to be productive.
And Ashley Chevalier providing great minutes off the bench for you guys, especially defensively. What kind of have you seen out of her over the past couple of games?
Yeah, she definitely gives us a spark on defense, and it helps us if we can have her on the ball some. The way that our defensive philosophy is set up, if she's playing the point guard position, it doesn't always put her on the ball on defense. So we've had to kind of move her around to where she can play the two some, so that it leads her into that defensive rotation. But she definitely, that's a lineup that I'm talking about, that like you're going to see more of her when we need some defense on the floor, until she gets a little bit more comfortable running our offense. But I feel like we can find some ways to use her offensively, obviously, attacking the basket and doing some things like that to help her teammates score. So, we need her energy. We need her toughness, so hopefully she'll continue to just buy into what her role is and keep providing us with that.
And I know you said that Big Cat will be out for 3-4 weeks, depending on how she's healing. But I guess how has her leadership role changed? I know she was one of the leaders on the floor, but now she has a different perspective on the bench. How's her spirits, but also how is she taking that in stride?
Yeah, I think it's been hard on her to not be a part of it because she just wants to play so badly, and I think she feels like she's disappointing her teammates and me because she's not out there and she has no control over her injury. But she's just so great at finding a way to lift up her teammates. If you watch our games and watch her on the bench, every possession she's up off the bench, having her teammates back, whether it's because of a call she doesn't agree with or maybe a play that they made, and she's coaching. She's absolutely coaching all the time and sees some things and talks to them when they come off the bench as well. So she's been very involved. I love her energy and her spirit, and obviously we need her IQ, and there'll be a great time when she comes back on the court, but we're getting the most out of her right now with her limited availability.
I know you were asked about Jasmine Lewis a minute ago, but shooting 75% both from the field and the free throw line, a career 50% free throw shooter. What have you seen from her in particular in shot selection when she's not at the free throw line and then at the free throw line that has allowed her to, rise those percentages so high?
Yeah, I really continue to think that it is about our guards putting her in a position to get her the basketball where she can have an easy bucket. We try really hard to do that for our post players, and I think she's buying into that. Like, she understands the angles, she understands where we want the ball, and she's using her body to get good position. And when she gets both feet in the paint with the ball in the paint, she's pretty unstoppable. Our rule is if you have both feet in the paint with the ball, you score or get fouled every time. And I would probably guess to say that she's doing that on a very consistent basis. She's a nice shooter from the free throw line in, so I love her concentration at the free throw line. Hopefully we can get her there more if she's not finishing shots in the paint for us.
And some of the more interesting aspects of some of these tournaments is, the times that you can play. Obviously, two different ends of that spectrum, playing an 11 a.m. local tip on Friday and then playing the 8 p.m. game local on Saturday. How do you kind of manage both ends of that where, you're playing so early where maybe the girls are not used to playing, and then you're playing late where you're kind of hanging around all day waiting for game time?
Yeah, luckily we've had some opportunities where we've played. We've had practices in the morning. Our practice time generally is just right after lunch, so that's not too terribly far off. And then, as far as the night games go, I mean, I thank God they're college kids, right? And they like the nightlife, so hopefully they'll be ready to play.
Go right back to Ariana.
Coach, what are you most thankful for at this time of year?
Oh, what a great question. I think I'm just so thankful to be able to play the game that, or coach the game that I love and that's brought me so much joy, and then also do it with all of my friends and family. I mean, Lady Raider Nation, Lady Raider program is my family, and, all of my own family will be going as well. And so it's just so great to be able to go and do what we love together, and to celebrate together, and just make great memories. All right. Thank you, guys.